In an increasingly globalized world, how does a country stand out? This is a country made of land and sea, a crossroad between the Mediterranean and the Atlantic, a link between cultures and continents. This is the homeland of talented people, a founding member of the Euro, a gateway to a market of 500 million people. This is the home of a world leader in fast and ultra-fast chargers for electric vehicles, a country that produces more than half of its energy out of renewable sources, a privileged partner for innovation. Every day, more and more companies come to work and think with us. We also produce cars, but above all, we think cars. Think the green road ahead of us, and think the future. Innovation is taking the country to new frontiers. This is the world's biggest cork producer, transforming cork for the most traditional and revolutionary uses, from the top of the most precious wine bottles in the world to thermal shields and rockets and spaceships destined for space. This is a leading tourist destination in the world, a competitive and sustainable location, a top country in providing technological services, host of great international events integrated in some of the most important value chains in the world, that attracts and keeps some of the most talented people. So how does a country stand out in an increasingly globalized world? Well, I guess it's by welcoming the world and bridging cultures. Portugal, talented and welcoming.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our weekly international prop chat on every Saturday, 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 at Facebook or YouTube Live at IQI International Sales. I'm Andy Chen from IQI Global, your host of the day. On behalf of IQI Global, the Asia's biggest real estate and investment agency, also a member of JUI IQI, I would like to thank everyone for supporting our program. Our webinar usually features some of the best investments or projects in the various hotspots around the globe. If you like our program, which you think that is benefiting you, do invite and share it with your friends. Should you have any comments and questions, feel free to leave it at the comment box and we will revert to you. Today, we will continue to focus on the beautiful country of Europe, that is Portugal. Well, we are very honored to invite Desmond again, a migration specialist who is the only migrations advisor from Malaysia that was awarded with the top 25 global migration agency CEO from U Global Immigrations magazine based in US. Let's put our hand together and welcome Mr. Desmond Ng, Managing Director of Global Migration Solutions, to share with us the Portugal Golden Visa and the benefit as an European citizens. Hello, Desmond. How are you?
I'm good, Mandy. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here with everybody again.
Yeah, welcome again to our program. And you have been doing almost, I think this will be your fourth round with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
Yep. Okay. For those who have missed our previous few episodes with Desmond, so feel free to go to our YouTube, or later on I will share the link again. You can watch the replay. All right. So without further delay, let us talk about Portugal. Well, for Portugal, Golden Visa has been nominated by Forbes as the best investment for residence and citizenship program. Not only that, it has nominated Algarve as the first place to live, post the coronavirus. Today, we are going to continue to discuss about the Portugal Golden Visa for those who missed out our sections earlier. And the Golden Visas provide an options to take up the Portugal citizens after 5 years. And we are going to look into the value and the benefit being an EU citizen beside the Portugal Golden Visa. I shall leave the floor to you, Desmond.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Yeah. So hi again, everybody. I'm very excited to share about these programs again. And today we are going to talk about the Portugal Golden Visa. But not only that, I wanted to emphasize, the values of a EU citizenship and a second area access that comes along with the Portugal Golden Visa. Just before we go into the detail, allow me to do a quick introduction about myself and our company. So Global Migration, being a migration advisory firm, we have been around over the last 17 years. Over the years, we have helped more than 12,000 family members obtaining their PR, their green card, their residency across the various jurisdictions that we have, that we assist. So we have also worked step by steps to gain several awards over the years. And one of the awards, like Mandy mentioned, was being awarded as one of the top 25 global migration agency from Malaysia back in 2021. And that wouldn't possible without the support from the clients. Now, today we have offices across Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Hong Kong to support the clients across Asia. Now, talking about this Portugal Golden Visa, I think this is really an interesting program, and it has been nominated as the best programs by Forbes to obtain the residency and becomes a European citizen. I think generally, not many people think about the citizenship when it comes to a Portugal Golden Visa. And today, I would like to share with you a range of the rights that goes with the EU citizenship, and importantly, how do you start from the Portugal Golden Visa and step by steps and getting your citizenship later on and becoming a EU citizens. Yeah. Now, let's look into these programs, Portugal Golden Visa. This is a very straightforward programs, and it is very easy in the sense that the investment amount is relatively lower compared to many other programs around the world. So generally, you are required to invest that starts from 280,000 euro. And what I really like about these programs is, after you have gotten these programs approved or residency approved, it is easy for you to fulfill the requirements in terms of the residency. So all you need to fulfill is 14 days for the first 2 years, followed by another 14 days on the third and the fourth year, and 7 days on the fifth year. So this doesn't cause a stress or a problems for you to achieve the residency. And this is very important, for you to take into consideration, especially for those who is not ready to move over yet and looking at this, having, to plan for a second alternative programs. Now, when it comes to having how many family members can you include in the application, again, these programs is fantastic because it does generally allow you to include your spouse, your children, who is depending upon you, your parents, and to the certain extent, your parents-in-law. So generally, you are required to invest only 280,000, that starts from 280,000, and you may include everybody in your family in this application. So just to touch a bit on the children's, we are talking about dependent children here. They must be 28 years, they must be single and still studying and financially depending upon you. So there isn't any age limit, in terms of how old they are, so long they're single, they are still studying and financially depending upon you. Now, when it comes to the benefits, if you were to decide to live in Portugal after the approval of the Golden Visa, the benefits for healthcare and education starts immediately. Yeah, these programs do give you an options to become or to apply to become a citizen after 5 years, and we'll talk about that. How do you get or how do you gain the Portugal citizenship and the EU passport? And that is the end game to most of the people after they have gained the citizenship of Portugal and become an EU citizen. That open up their opportunity and rights to be able to live, work, and study across the 27 countries in Europe or Schengen area. So that is the directions for you to understand about this Portugal Golden Visa. And this is a this is an investment for residency programs.
Okay, Desmond, since you say that there's so much benefit, the investment options are flexible and also very attractive. So would you like to go through with us?
Sure, Mandy. Yes. So when we talk about the investment options, there are generally a few options available. You can consider or you can choose to go with the real estate investment. Under the real estate investment, you could choose to invest in residential real estate. If you can choose to buy any new property or resale property in the interior area for 500,000. If that area is considered as a low density area, then there is a reduced investment amount to 400,000. Alternatively, you could consider to invest into rehabilitation projects that basically give a new life to those old property, and that is what being encouraged by the Portuguese government. If you are participating or investing into this category, then your investment amount is 350,000, and there's a benefits or there's a discounts to 280,000 if that is located in the low density area. Alternatively, you could also choose to invest in commercial real estate. Any commercial real estates, new or used commercial real estate, that starts with 500,000 or 400,000 if it is again in low density area. Again, there's also options for you to take parts in the old commercial real estates that go through the rehabilitations exercise, and that is being reduced to 350,000 and further reduced to 280,000 if it is a low density area. Now, I started off with the real estate because this, out of the total application over the years, so 93% of the total applicants choose the real estate investment. This is the Portugal map. You can see under the commercial investment, real estate investment, you could generally invest in, the area that is highlighted with blue or red color. But if you are considering the residential investment, then the investment has to be in the red zone. Yeah, that is so generally the red area or the red zone is classified as the interior area. And the options are relatively, what it covers quite a big area of Portugal, and there are plenty of options available for you to consider. Now, other than the real estate, you could also consider the capital transfer, where you could actually leave your investment in the fixed deposit for a minimum of 1.5 million for 5 years, or you could also choose to invest into the private funds that starts from a minimum of 500,000 euro. So as compared to property, of course, this part of options require a larger sums of investment, or savings of 1.5 millions in the fixed deposit. So it doesn't seems to be as attractive as the real estate. That's the reason why 93% of the total applications choose under the real estate. Also, if you are a business owner and you are considering setting up a business in Portugal, then you could run a business and employ 10 full-time staff. And that would also be considered as qualified under one of the investment options. So that gives you some idea, on what you could actually participate in terms of investment that complies with this Portugal Golden Visa.
Well, Desmond, since you say that, again, I want to re-emphasize that those days, a lot of people, or I would say rather right now, a lot of people are still asking, by buying a property, is there automatically qualified me to get a citizenship, or getting a permanent visa, PR in particular countries, especially they were referring to Australia. But unfortunately, right now in Australia, we are not allowed to do that, even though you would buy properties. Therefore, for this Portugal Golden Visa is indeed a very attractive point in the events that by investing in the real estate, you can actually automatically qualify to be the EU citizens. That is
You're
what I would
correct.
like. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so now we want to know why people are obtaining the EU citizen. Why is it so attractive, and what is the so-called opportunities and right being an EU citizens? Can you share with us for the benefits, and
yeah,
how does this passport meant to us, and they are able to provide what sort of qualities if we were to obtain it?
sure. So just before I share about the EU citizenship, I just wanted to highlight and emphasize that this whole process of Portugal Golden Visa relatively is quite straightforward and quite fast, and one could expect to spend about 8 months to 12 months to complete the whole process. So what you're seeing here, explain steps that you're going through or you're expecting to go through. Now, we will assist you to open up the bank accounts in Portugal. We'll assist you to open up a tax file in Portugal before even, you invest in Portugal. Once the bank account is open, then you'll be able to transfer your fund across from respective country to Portugal. What I really like about this whole entire programs is your fund is fully controlled by yourself. You are basically transferring the funds from your accounts to your Portuguese bank accounts. Now, then we will take you through the process to guide you on the investment, and IQI has full range of the investment available to guide you through. And once you have determined on the right investment, then we will carry you through to file the Portuguese Golden Visa application. Do take notes, we are also assisting you with all the conveyancing work when it comes to purchasing the property. Portugal generally is very friendly to foreign investor. So all the properties available in Portugal is under the freehold status. In 3 months' times after filing your application, then you will have 6 months to travel to Portugal to complete the last steps of the process, which is the biometrics. And after the biometrics, that's where your Portuguese Golden Visa will be issued to you, and the process, your journey starts. Yeah. Now, this is talking about the Portugal Golden Visa. I share with you on how you actually embark on the journey being a Portuguese golden residence, and from there becoming a EU citizen. This is one of the easiest programs for you to become a citizen of Portugal. All you need to do is, for the first 2 years, spend or fulfill the 14-day stay in Portugal and keep your investment and free from criminals records. Then on the third and the fourth year, the same condition repeats. On the fifth and the 6 years, what happens is the 6 years is given to you to decide whether you are going for the PR status or citizenship. So on the fifth year, you must fulfill the 7-day stay, maintain the investment, and free from the criminals. So this is the process for you to obtain the Portuguese passport. Now, when we talk about obtaining the becoming a Portuguese citizen, you are generally considered as becoming an EU citizen. Again, I don't think many people generally think about a citizenship of European Union. There are a range of rights that goes with being a EU citizen that people often forget about it. Yeah. So when we talk about the rights and the benefits that comes with the EU citizens, and that generally give you the privilege to to access to health, education, pensions, retirements, and all sorts of the welfare. So naturally, these are great benefits for those who are looking to move not only as an individual but also as a family members. So when we talk about the access to the 27 countries, these are all the countries you and your family member have the rights to access to. Yeah. And let's look into the citizenship benefits. I think first of all, the subsidized education benefits is very crucial. Most of the clients who are embark or participate in these programs, generally the priority is for the children's education and for the children's future. So let's have a look at, how does this, EU citizenship benefits your children's when it comes to the education opportunity and the options. So relatively, there's a large number of the European university and college offer low cost or even full subsidized study options for EU citizens. So there are higher education institutions that offer quality courses exclusively for just the EU citizen, but not international students. So if you are an EU passport holder, you will be given preference in acceptance to this higher education institution. So this is very important. So not only the subsidized education fee, but also the privilege or the exclusive rights to be accepted to some of these courses and university. So now, as a EU citizens, you're generally entitled to study at EU university under the same condition as the national. And most of the clients who embark on the residency programs, this is really, really important for them. Yeah. So as you know, it is costly to have your children or as an international students to study in Europe, which generally may cost you around 15,000, for example. Yeah. Or it might cost you 15,000 to study a bachelor degree, or around 20,000 when it comes to master degree. If you are EU citizens, you're generally expecting to pay as low as 150 to 3,005 for a bachelor degree, or 300 to 3,005 euro per year if your child were to study a master degree. So this, you can see how much the savings is, especially if your child were to study the medicines. And let's take Trinity College, Dublin, as an example. As an international student, that might cost you 55,000 per year, and being an EU student, that is being reduced to 17,000 euro per year. So if you are talking about 7 years, it takes 7 years to become a doctor, to complete the study, that generally easily save you 250,000 euro over a 7 years period. And when it comes to Scotland, when it comes to Norway, Finland, and many other countries in Europe, and the medical study are generally free. So that gives you an idea, on the education benefits when it comes to being an EU citizen. So other than that, we are also talking about working, the rights to be able to find jobs anywhere in Europe. Once you hold a European passport, you may work legally in all EU countries without restrictions. And that is fantastic if your child, that is a great opportunity for your children to be able to work anywhere as they like in any of the EU countries across the 27 members. Now, employer generally look for international students or candidates who are mobile, bilingual, and culturally aware. And when they're hiring these international candidates, that gives your children's, that advantage of increasing their employability, being a EU citizens. So that again, is a fantastic benefits. So we are also talking about those who is looking at setting up a business and own an assets or real estates in European countries. Citizenship law allow an EU citizens to own property in any of the country, and you don't need an additional permits to do so. You have the options of buying a real estate and registering a company in EU countries. That are additional custom benefits just for the EU citizens. So this is favorable for investor in European real estates, and that gives you an opportunity to be able to diversify in your portfolio. Yeah. So having to say, these are the top three benefits. We're also talking about the medical benefits in the EU countries. So being an EU citizen, again, you enjoy medical treatments over the variety of the EU member states at a similar price as a local residence. Yeah. So free entry into countries such as the United States. Yeah. As you know, you are able to travel to many countries without a visa. Portugal passport, in fact, is the fifth strongest passport in the world, and that is ahead, of Australia and New Zealand. So that gives you rights to be able to travel to 187 countries. Yeah. So we are also talking about work permits as outside the Europe countries. Many countries give the privilege permits to work within their borders. So this includes countries such as Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Yeah. So that gives your children not only the rights to be able to work within the Europe and the Schengen area, but should they were to consider working in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, their immigration policy and their borders do have the preferential permits for them to be able to work. Now, one of the very important aspect, that being a EU citizen is also about the consular protection. And what is it? This is really relating to the diplomacy. So if you are going for a holiday, for example, outside Europe, and you get into a trouble, for example, because of the Article 20, under the law, you being an EU citizen, you actually able to get in touch with any of the embassy relating to the 27 member states. So if you are able, you are generally able to go to the Portuguese embassy or any embassy around you, and they have an obligation to help you in the same way that a Portuguese embassy would. So having to, go through all this benefits and the welfare, and certainly that also gives you rights to be able to enter into Europe without a need for a visa. Now I'm going to talk about and highlights about the Malaysian. Generally being a Malaysian and holding the Malaysia passport doesn't require any visa to travel to European countries at the moment. But by the end of the year 2022, by the end of this year, citizens with a valid Malaysian passport who wish to travel to any of these 26 countries in Schengen area is required to obtain a visa. So this is expecting to happen by end of this year. So again, when you're holding the Portuguese passport, that gives you rights and the options to be able to do so. Yeah, to travel without a visa. Last but not least, I think that really gives you an options, you and your family members, being recognized as a European citizen certainly gives a much bigger possibility and chances for your children's, to be able to explore their study, where exactly they wanted to live and work after they completed the study. And that kind of gives you some idea of how important and powerful is, the European citizenship were to bring to you and your family members. Yeah, so Mandy, I hope that gives everybody some idea here when it comes to how do they get themselves into the Portuguese golden residence status, then convert themselves into the Portugal citizen and becoming a EU citizens.
Okay, I have two questions with me right now. The first question is, after 5 years, will the purchaser, or I would say the clients, can sell off the properties after 5 years once they obtain the Portugal citizenship? Can they just sell off the properties?
Yes, they are allowed to do so. The minimum investment periods is 5 years in general, and once they have decided to take up the citizenship, and the investment is not a requirement anymore. So if they were to choose to move to another countries in the Schengen area, for example, they may choose to dispose of the property in Portugal, and they are allowed to do so. Yeah. In fact, during the 5 years periods, if they wish to dispose of their investment, they do have an options or rights to do so as well. But immediately within 60 days, they must choose or invest into another same level of the investment amount within 60 days. Yeah. And that we are talking about the 5 years periods. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Another question is that once they obtain the Portugal citizenships, right? Is this going to be for life citizenship, or you have to renew upon certain period of the years?
Citizenship is for life, whether they're living in Portugal or they're living outside Portugal, that remains for the whole life.
So that means there's no requirement of the minimum stay even after you obtain the citizenship, right?
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, wow, that's very attractive. Okay, another question is like, um, is Portugal allowed dual citizenship?
Yes. So generally, Portugal allowed dual citizenship, or when we talk about dual citizenship, really it is referring to multiple citizenship.
Yep.
And when you choose to convert into the Portugal citizenship, and the government doesn't require to surrender the existing citizenship or the passport that you're holding.
Okay. So what about the declarations of income?
Declaration of the incomes. So when we
Yes.
talk about declaration of incomes, I guess you're talking probably uh, what people have in mind is the tax implication, for example.
Yes.
So how the tax system work in Portugal? If you were to spend lesser than 183 days you are generally considered as a non-tax resident. Yeah. And when you're non-tax residents, you're not required to report your overseas income that you may earn over the years. Yeah, for that particular financial year. So we are talking about you being a non-tax resident when you spend lesser than 183 days. All you need to disclose or declare is the incomes or any incomes that you may derive within Portugal. Just an idea. So we are talking about, I would like to use this as an example because I would assume that most of the people, for example, if they were to invest into the property, as that is, the Asian's preference, if your property is rented out on the long term, the tax bracket or the tax rate is at 28%. So if you're renting your property on the short term, for example, short-term lease, which is less than 12 months, or you're keeping your property on a short-term rental, such as Airbnb, the tax rate for the rental income in this case will be reduced to below 9%. So to be exact, 8.75%. Yeah. So relatively, Portugal has a fantastic tax system or tax regime that attracts a lot of the high net worth individual. As you can see, especially over the last year or during the pandemic, especially after the Brexit, British, American, Brazilians, French people, and high net worth individuals across the world take up the residency in Portugal for the tax planning purposes. Yeah. So we were talking about the non-tax residents, and I would also like to share about the tax residents.
Mhm.
So if you were to spend or you choose to live in Portugal and then you exceeded the 183 days, yeah, in a financial year or in a fiscal year, so you become a tax resident, yeah, of Portugal. Under this situation, Portugal do offer first 10 years of non-habitual tax relief, and most of your overseas income, some of the overseas income are as tax exempt, and certain incomes of your overseas income might be capped at a maximum of 20% on the tax bracket. Yeah, up to 20%. Again, as compared to many other jurisdictions, this is really attractive. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hope that
Yeah,
answers
especially
the
those
question.
entrepreneur. We have business all around the world,
Yeah.
and yeah, a big concerns that when come to income, especially on the overseas income. I mean, to be honest, if those income generated within Portugal, definitely you have to pay tax. But what about the overseas income? This is perhaps majority of the investors will actually concern about these issues.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so let's see. There's any other questions from the live? Okay, before we end here, for those who wish to have a private consultation or you want to know further about this Portugal Golden Visa, you can feel free to actually email to enquiry@globalmigrations.com or WhatsApp the number, which is actually available in the screen as well as in the comment box. All right. So, should you be convinced after so many weeks of talking about the benefit of this golden visa, how easy to obtain it, well, you should not miss our next week sharing, which we will talk about the various investments options and hotspot and some of the beautiful projects in Portugal. So do mark your calendar every Wednesday. That means next week, next Wednesday and Saturday, we will talk about the investment options as well as the Portugal projects. All right. So should you have missed any of our previous webinar, again, you may watch the replay at Facebook or YouTube at IQI International Sales. So don't forget to give us lots of supports and likes by sharing our programs to your friends. And remember, Always have a contingency plan or obtain a second residency is a popular decision that most people have embarked on these days. When it is easier, so it's the time for you to act. So don't wait till when the rules is getting tougher or you have to pay a higher amount of investment, then only you consider these options. And I believe with the popularity of this Portugal Golden Visa, eventually governments will actually raise the investment amount. So do you want to wait or you should act now? This is your choice. Anyway, just to recap, Portugal Golden Visa scheme began in 2012, but it has been proven to be one of the best residency by investment program in the world. Hence, please don't miss this golden opportunities and start considering now. All right, so I shall see you next week. So meanwhile, take care everyone. Have a pleasant weekend. And I'm Mandy Chan signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Desmond, for your awesome sharing. I mean, this is indeed a very insightful information, and I believe that most of our audience like it so much, and they will contact you soon.
My pleasure, Mandy. Thank you for organizing this too.
Okay, so before I end these sessions, I would like you to share another beautiful videos of Portugal.
Le Figaro called it the secret garden of Portugal. The Guardian described it as the most stunning coastline in Europe. A region of unparalleled beauty and authenticity, according to the New York Times. Unspoiled natural landscapes and great food. Monocle magazine. National Geographic calls it Portugal's time capsule. Let me tell you a secret. We call it Alentejo.